What's going on, ladies and gentlemen? It's me again, Mr. Brandywine. I'm recording another tutorial session. I think this might be my last one unless I missed a couple things, in which case I might maybe do one more. I'm going to dive into a little bit of surface vessel combat in addition to submarine tender and kind of cargo ship killing as well. I find this to be probably the most difficult just because surface ships tend to be a little bit overwhelming in terms of the amount of weapons, because with submarines I find you're only maybe competing against one or two at a time, whereas with surface ships there sometimes can be an entire fleet, in which case you might be facing an aircraft carrier or even a large warship that has a escort with it. So what we're going to do is we're going to go in single mission, and I think I'm going to go action in the North Atlantic. That's probably what I'm going to pick. We're going to be picking the Alpha class because, like I said, it's my favorite submarine. If you guys have any recommendations, suggestions, or if you want to see me challenge myself, I'm more than willing to accept it. This will kind of help you guys kind of engage with me, and I really want you guys to understand that I want to work with you guys and really show that I'm listening. So if you want to see more or additional content, and after this hopefully start a campaign, and you have any information, let me know. Comment, like, and subscribe. Like I said, subscribing to my channel is free, but it's absolutely priceless to me. It would mean the world to me. So thank you for your patronage. I'm going to accept. So we have a sonar contact bearing 120, designate Sierra 1. Our depth is 330 feet. Our heading is 53. Our speed is 5 knots. We have a strong thermal layer. This is going to be extremely beneficial to us. Unfortunately, though, the layer is very shallow at 100 feet.
On sonar, new contact.
Rig ship for ultra quiet.
First things first, we're going to go ultra quiet. And I'm going to check my map.
Con sonar, new contact bearing 071, designated Sierra 2.
You're going to notice that...
Con sonar, new contact bearing 087, designated Sierra 3. Come right to 180, helm I.
You're going to notice that the second you join in, usually with the surface fleets, that there's going to be a lot of contacts that immediately pop on the screen.
Con sonar, new contact bearing 044, designated Sierra 5.
Don't panic. A lot of the times they might be freighters, biologics, or a mix of everything. So this is actually a new thing that you just saw right there. That yellow line is a active ping, meaning somebody's actively making a sound, and that yellow ping is it bouncing off of my submarine and returning. So it's showing that these ships are pinging and actively searching for me. This is why these are really dangerous in comparison to submarines, because unlike submarines, a lot of ships will spend a lot of their time searching for you because they're already noisy. They're on the surface, so they really truly
Con sonar, lost contact. Sierra 1, last bearing 126, contact faded.
So you're gonna notice that...
Con sonar, regain, come right to 158, helm I.
You're gonna notice that I'm gonna immediately dive into identifying these ships. It might be a little difficult, but that is because I am
right
below the layer, and it's a very strong layer, as you can see.
I. Con sonar, regained contact on Sierra 4, bearing 140.
So I might even turn my submarine speed down a little bit. That way it can help break up the waterfall and allow me to identify these a little bit easier. Since this is going to be a little challenging for Sierra 1, I might just move on.
Con, helm, steady course.
And we're going to dive right into picking another submarine, or ship, rather, out of the lineup. So I'm looking to see if there's anything that jumps out at me. This one looks to be like it would be probably around there. I'm willing to bet okay, this is an, forgive my butchery, an Anzadan or an Antizan.
Con sonar, Sierra 2 is classified as merchant.
So, although it says merchant, it's a hostile merchant. As you can see, it's probably a troop transport or a submarine tender of some kind, maybe an oiler.
Come right to 180, helm I.
Another thing that you can see me, or if you'd like to see what's going on inside my head, a lot of these lines, warships only really make those active sonar pings. So you can tell that Sierra 1 is almost most likely is going to be a warship, and as well as Sierra 3. They're both pinging me. Unless they're hiding from me behind another contact, which is totally possible, but
Con,
very
helm,
unlikely.
steady course.
And I want to say it might be a Cresta or a Cashin. But I'm willing to say that this is going to be a Cresta, probably a Cresta 1. If that does change, though, I will let you know.
Con sonar, Sierra 3 is classified as capital ship.
We're going to move on to Sierra 1 as well, to help identify it. This is also a Cashin.
Con sonar, Sierra 1 is classified as escort.
So the first thing you're going to want to do is you're going to want to be very patient, very quiet as well, and take your time identifying these ships, because identifying these ships really help you understand, by based on their contact sonar suite, how dangerous and how sensitive they are in listening to you. So our mission is going to be sinking any submarine tenders or support ships, as well as eliminating any escorts. So we're pretty much having a license to kill anybody here that isn't green. So unless you want to be an absolute monster and kill this poor blue whale who's doing nobody a disservice, I recommend taking your time and making sure that all of your decisions are proper before making a definite decision. Because in the campaign, you'll notice that a lot of the civilian ships will be divided up inside of here. So any small move can cause an international incident. Interesting. Honestly, if I didn't know any better, I'd say that's a whiskey class submarine. Or some kind of submarine, honestly. It might even be a Romeo, but that line over here seems a little bit off center. So I'm going to take my time and make sure that I'm correct. As well, I'm going to also adjust my course, maybe even slow down.
Make turns for 3 knots, maneuvering aye.
And I might slowly meander my way to get into the baffles of these ships, because you're going to want to take time, concentrate, and be very methodical in your movements, because they can also run right up on top of you and drop depth charges or rocket propelled torpedoes. It's very overwhelming if you're not careful, if you're very careless with
Come
surface
left
ships.
to 116, helm aye.
I want to say it's a Romeo, but I feel like I'm wrong.
Con maneuvering, making turns for 3 knots.
So I'm going to look through the submarines one more time just to make sure I'm certain. But I'm willing to bet that Sierra 4 is a submarine. You guys are probably frustrated saying, oh my god, how do you not see that, man? It's clearly whatever. But like I said, I just want to make sure I'm very certain of what I'm doing. And like I said before in the previous episode, the Alpha class submarine is extremely deaf. I almost want to say that's a French submarine. Or, not a French submarine, rather. It's a Russian submarine, the Whiskey. Forget it. It's a Whiskey class.
Con sonar, Sierra 4 is classified as submerged submarine.
Okay. So we actually have a well-balanced target group right now. We have a couple surface ships and a submarine. So this is it's gonna be a very interesting battle. I'm gonna want to creep in behind them, and using the same tactics as before, fire when I'm in their baffles. Because once all of these ships hear me fire, it's gonna be pandemonium. Hopefully I can get into some torpedo evasion. And
Con, helm, steady course.
I can explain what I'm doing as I'm doing it. So now that all of my targets are identified, I'm pretty sure nobody has heard me yet. I'm gonna make sure. Yeah. So I'm in everybody's baffles. As you can see by the Cresta, -50, -26 active. I'm almost confident they can't hear me on active. So I'm gonna scooch in behind it. I'm gonna go back up to 5 knots.
Make turns for 5 knots. Maneuvering aye.
And I'm gonna slowly maneuver behind them. Like I said, you're gonna want to take your time. No rush. This is a hunter killer game. And it's not a run and gun game. Submarines is all about being detected the least. And that's what we're gonna try and do. So if I truly wanted to, and I wanted to take a
Con
risk...
sonar new contact bearing 051. Designated Sierra 6.
If I wanted to take a risk, I would go up and I would go above the layer.
Con, helm, steady course.
That would almost certainly allow them to hear me. I might even take this opportunity to go even closer while paying attention to where this whiskey is, because if I go too close to this layer, I might lose that whiskey class, and that could be dangerous, because if that whiskey hears me, it's going to be bad news for me. So, as you can see, we just acquired Sierra 6, which is a new contact. Could be a ship, could be a submarine, judging by where the lines are.
Con sonar lost contact. Sierra 1. Last bearing 163. Contact faded.
Judging by where these bars are, I'm almost certain it's a civilian ship, so it'll be a merchant. And by civilian, that's kind of a broad statement. It's most likely going to be a cargo ship of some kind. Most likely. I've been wrong so much so far, so take that with a grain of salt. My identification still needs work, and I've been playing for about 6 months now. Okay, very close to a submarine. It's a blue whale. I know. I know how you can get that easily confused. A blue whale like a submarine.
Con sonar Sierra 6 is classified as biologic.
Humpback, rather. So it's a biological submarine. Alright, so I'm not worried about the humpback, nor am I worried about the blue whale. I can see that these guys, the Anzan, can't hear me because it's basically a trawler. It has no active sonar or passive, so it doesn't know where I am. It's depending on the communication between the Cresta 1 and the Cashin, which is now invisible to my sensors. It's fine. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to try and scooch in behind them and maintain a little bit closer depth to
Make depth 200 feet, dive by.
To the layer. And that will enable me to stay in the blind spot. It sounds a little risky because you think, oh, you're getting closer to them, but like I said before, this layer will give us a nice sonar boundary. A lot of the sound is going to bounce off of here and not really make it to us to get returned. So this is going to be in our favor. You're still going to want to maintain distance. If you're right underneath them, they're going to hear you regardless. Sorry about that. I'll try and spend a lot of my time outside. I like outside of the tactical menu. I apologize for that. But it gets very, very normalized, the fact that I like doing this. It's easier to see the map there. So as you can see at the top, you'll see our ships. I can cycle through them if you'd like to see what they look like. This is our Cresta 1, which is a Russian capital ship. It has a helicopter, which is another reason why surface ships are extremely dangerous. Helicopters can have dipping sonar, which means they drop a wire into the water and they listen for submarines, as well as they drop torpedoes in as well. You might be able to see the torpedo on the very back of them. No, we're not loaded in yet. So this is our Whiskey class submarine as well. I don't think that Whiskey class can hear me because he's going the traditional Russian 12 knots. And the Whiskey class is a very outdated submarine, so I doubt it's going to hear me. So now that I am basically in their baffles, I'm going to take time and turn in behind them.
Come right to 167 Helm I.
As well as maybe pop up above the layer to enable myself a stronger solution, because the same rules that apply to me also apply to my enemy.
Dive at 150 feet, dive I.
So if I fire a torpedo and it begins to listen, that duct will actually insulate the ships from my torpedo's active or passive sonar. So there's a chance that it could completely ignore them and just travel out into the wild blue yonder. So I'm just going to peek my head above the layer.
Make depth 100 feet, dive I.
Doing this, I might lose the Whiskey, which is fine. I'm not too concerned about the Whiskey. It's a slow submarine. It does a max speed of 13 knots, and as you can see by doing 12 knots, the submarine is almost flat out.
Con, dive at 100 feet, dive I.
Just like I said, I went above the layer, so now I lost that Whiskey. That's fine. 12 knots, I can easily catch that. I'm over triple its speed. So I'm going to move in.
Con, helm, steady course.
And now that you saw, see, now that I'm above the layer, that was negative 50, now it's negative 34. So they can actually hear me a little bit better, but for the most part, I'm still a phantom in the water. I'm currently just listening for different contacts that might be potentially hiding, because there are some ships that are quiet, and I might not be aware, because again, the Alpha is a deaf submarine, so I don't have the most advanced sonar suite. I have speed and depth as my benefits. So I'm pretty satisfied that I don't think anybody's up above the layer right now. I'm going to go back below it.
Make depth 150 feet, dive I.
I'm going to see if I can get a hold of that Whiskey again, because if I let it out of my sight and it does hear me, I could be in for some trouble if it does sneak up on me. I doubt it will, though. So now that I'm here, I'm going to do some time acceleration. See if I can get a little bit closer.
Con, dive at 150 feet, dive I.
So as you can see, I regain contact on the Whiskey class and the captain.
Con, sonar, lost contact. Sierra,
And lost
3, last bearing, 152. Contact faded.
I'm 9 kilojards out. I could technically fire on them, but do I want to? I think I may. If the Addison decides to run, though, it will take me a lot of time of kind of porpoising, going deep, flat out for a little bit to try and catch it, back up, seeing where it is, and then going back down again. So my main focus is going to be this Andazan, just because I really, really, really want that, because it is my mission objective. So I think I might just fire on that. I'll pop up the layer, fire what I need to, and then dive back below it. I'm also going to try and get that whiskey class while I'm at it, because I doubt... Yeah, I'm in the baffles of both of these guys. I can't find the Cresta, and I'm sure if they ever come to investigate against me, I doubt they'll find me. So let's be a little bit risky, like I keep trying to tell myself, but never really actually do it. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to go above the layer, I'm going to fire my torpedo, I might just do a spread, and then go back below it and listen while I guide my torpedoes in. So my torpedoes will be above the layer, whereas my submarine will be safely in the blind spot below. So let's try that.
Make depth 100 feet, dive I.
Because if you get, as you can see, they're going 14 knots. So if I'm going 5, they're going to slowly get the legs on me, and I won't catch them. So I'm going to really want to do this now, rather than not.
Con, dive at 100 feet, dive I.
Okay, so I have a decent solution. I'm going to chamber 1, 2, 3, 4 torpedoes. I might do 3. Fire at the surface ships, fire at the whiskey second. So let's do that. I'm going to fire right now. I'll go passive just because if a wire does break, I have the ability for it to not just be actively pinging, and then everybody will hear that. So right now I'm just going to fire a spread, and I will maneuver them as I go. So 1.
Shoot 2-1, aye sir.
2.
Shoot 2-2, aye sir.
And let's go 3.
Shoot 2-3, aye sir.
And at the same time, I'm going to clear
Make
my data,
depth 150 feet, dive I.
and I'm going to
Come left to
slightly
105. Helm
to
aye.
one side. I'm going to go port. That way people can fire back at me, but hopefully I'll be at a different course by then. So, while those torpedoes are on their way, I'm going to actively monitor
Con,
and
dive
hopefully
at
utilize my torpedo
150
to
feet,
get a
dive
better
I.
solution on the Cresta. If the whiskey does fire back at me, I'm prepared to evade, and hopefully I can show you torpedo evasion. I'll try to be a little bit more loud by doing a little bit more reckless maneuvers. So these torpedoes are on
Con,
their way.
helm, steady course.
And I know for a fact this merchant trawler is not going to hear me. So I can hit this guy with whatever I want, and it doesn't matter. So I'm not going to go active with this torpedo yet, because if I do go active, everybody will know. At least if I hit this with a passive torpedo, nobody will hear until the last possible second when that ship does get hit. And then I will have the element of surprise. So I had my second torpedo for the cash-in. I still don't have a good solution. As you can see here on the bottom left of the map, it doesn't have the same sort of icon as the merchant does. So this is just a vague description. As I develop the solution, as you can see, 95% on here, and I only have 49% on this solution. So I'm going to need to spend a little bit more time and maybe even change my depth to actually develop that solution to enable more accurate shot. If not, I'll enable this torpedo early and allow it to focus and home in by itself. Sometimes you can be tricky as well. You can use an active torpedo sonar to boost and supplement your passive sonar. These are all things that are a little bit daunting and overwhelming at first, but as you play the game and here I am again, get your feet wet, you will become more acclimated to the game. So I have a better solution on the Cresta. I might actually take this and move in on the Cresta, and then I will take this second torpedo, or sorry, the cash-in rather, and I will move this torpedo on the Cresta as well. Maybe I can get 3 at the same time, and then I can focus on this whiskey later, and hopefully get a bit of a more intimate, violent encounter with it, and then I can show you what torpedo evasion is like. This is why I'm actually refraining from shooting a torpedo at this whiskey currently. Maybe I can even show you some active sonar. and find this whiskey. It only does 14 knots max speed, so I'm not concerned with it running away on me. I can easily chase it down if I needed to, or my torpedoes can. This guy has no idea what's coming his way. The Crested probably doesn't either. Blue Whale obviously doesn't. Or the Humpback. Cashin I still don't have a good solution on yet. But I'm almost confident that once I hear a little bit of noise being generated by the other ships, and it going evasive, it will start to create a little bit more noise and develop. So right about now, this torpedo should be going active. And it will be attacking.
Con, fire control, weapon acquired.
Perfect. So these ones, they move in a little bit more and adjust their course. So now it's gone active. So it'll chase down this ship. I'll zoom in so you can watch the gore happen. Maneuvering the other torpedoes while I actually watch this one, just to make sure that everything is updated and accurate as possible.
Sonar lost contact. Sierra 2, last bearing 173. Contact breaking up.
Okay, now they're aware of my position. They'll probably start taking evasive maneuvers and turning around to investigate. If they were smart, they would, but who knows. So we have a merchant down. I'm going to zoom in on the other torpedo. This one's going for the Cashin. This one is going to be going for the Cresta. As you can see, it's changing course. And by the dots, you can tell that the dots are further apart, so it's actually speeding up to avoid and evade. We don't want that. You can see that the speed is increasing to 23 knots, 25 knots. And the Cashin right now, I have a full solution on, because now the Cashin is moving and increasing speed, thus creating more noise. So don't be afraid of firing a large spread. I'm firing 3 for 3. If you need to fire 5 for 3, go for it. If you need to empty your tubes, please go for it. So because they know I'm here, I'm going to load a Moss just in case things get a little hairy. Since I have that ability now. The wreck will be causing a lot of noise, and if they were smart, they will be loading their helicopters and having the helicopters look for me. So far, nothing yet. So we got one down, 1 for 1. And that Cresta is running, absolutely running. 30 knots, like she is panicked right now, panicked. But that is okay. I might actually arc this in, a dogleg this torpedo, and perhaps switch it out and get this
Con, torpedo room,
again.
tube 1 ready.
That's probably what I'm going to end up doing. Let's do it this way. So we're going to change plans and make this go active now on the Cashin and not the Cresta. This is why you like the wires. So you can see that I do believe that's the Cashin. Just launched a torpedo,
Con, fire control, weapon acquired.
but it's too late. It launched it on my bearing.
Con sonar, noisemaker, bearing 177.
So it launched the noisemaker. I'm gonna go around it. I can't hear it right now, just because there's so much noise.
Con, fire control, weapon acquired.
I just steered it around manually.
Con sonar, lost contact. Sierra 1, last bearing
Motion down.
176. Contact breaking up.
So now that that's out of the way, it's 2 ships down. I'm gonna take this last torpedo I have coming, and I'm going to switch it. And we're gonna go for the Cresta. I do believe that's the enemy torpedo being launched at me, so we're gonna use this one instead. I'm gonna reload another torpedo in case I need it. That I will. But better safe than sorry. And as you can see, we're totally safe, out of harm's way. Nobody knows where we are yet. We've only done 5 knots. We almost have 40, well, we do. We have 41 more knots to use if we need it. We're only needing 5. Sometimes I can go through the entire game without even using my submarine's engines. I end up just turning them to 0, and I will just float in the water, completely stationary. So this Cresta is absolutely running for her life. You have to watch. A lot of the wrecks will make a lot of noise as they sink and implode, and that alone can cause your torpedo to home in on that. This is actually very handy at the same time. If you have something making a lot of noise, you can kind of jink the torpedo into these noisy wrecks. So if you're at a last ditch
Con,
effort,
torpedo room, tube 2 ready.
and you have no real way out, you can actually go ultra quiet and make that torpedo home in on that noisy, bubbly wreck and relieve you some pressure because it will home in on that wreck. I'm trying to lead this Cresta right now currently. This thing is running, so I keep turning. I'm going to activate it very shortly. It's launching a torpedo based on the bearing where that torpedo
Con
came
sonar,
from.
noisemaker, bearing 172.
I'm not going to play any of those games, so I'm going to make sure it activates past that. If you ever want to activate your torpedo sooner than where you actually tell it to, you can be pressing the 4 key. It will immediately activate your torpedo. This is providing you have the wire. If you don't have the wire, this will not work. So you're going to want to activate it past the noisemaker, just because it will home in on the noisemaker, and it's just more moves that you have to do to counteract that. That's all I'm doing. As you can see, this torpedo I have has 14 minutes of fuel left, nowhere near ready of running out, or near running out of fuel rather. I'm going to activate my torpedo right now.
Con, fire control, weapon acquired.
Con sonar, noisemaker, bearing 173.
It's not happening. Not happening. So I'm going to steer with my number pad.
Con, fire control, weapon acquired.
I'm going to let the software of the torpedo take over. I might need to hit this twice, most likely not.
Con sonar, lost contact. Sierra 3, last bearing 174. Contact breaking up.
Okay, we're 3 for 3. As you can see, there's an S-shaped search pattern here for this torpedo, and it's going to be looking for me. I'm going to adjust my course, because it will find me if I'm not careful. I am going to
Come right
go this
to
way.
197. Helm I.
I'm going to go...
Make depth
700.
600 feet, dive by.
And let's increase our speed a little bit.
Make turns for 10 knots. Maneuvering I.
We're going to go look for this whiskey class. The name of the game here is to stay calm. If you panic when torpedoes are in the water, you'll probably get shot. Well, you'll die. You'll get shot at in this game, but you probably won't get killed as long as you stay calm and see these coming. You'll see at the
Con, helm, steady course.
You'll see at the top right of the screen, your crew will yell torpedo in the water, torpedo in the water. That is when a torpedo actually has acquired your submarine. Until that point, don't panic. Once you hear that, immediately stop whatever you're doing and go to full torpedo evasion, because by then it is almost too late. You have very, very few seconds to react and save your ship. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to go very, very deep, and I'm going to try and find this whiskey class. If this torpedo sees me, I'm not too worried. But judging by the actual search cone of it, if it gets a lucky sweep as it pings, it might see me. But I doubt it. Everybody be very quiet. Don't be clanging the pots and pans in this tin can now. Come on.
Make turns for 20 knots. Maneuvering I.
I'm just gonna scooch by it.
Con maneuvering. Making turns for 20
happy accident.
knots.
Rig ship for ultra quiet.
Okay, so now we're gonna slow down.
Passing 700 feet.
We're gonna look for this whiskey class.
Come right to 221. Helm I.
Make depth 700 feet. Dive I.
Con helm. Steady course.
So to make things simpler, I'm going to
Con
just...
sonar regained contact on Sierra 5. Bearing 131.
We're looking for the whiskey class currently. And because of all this noise polluting the water where all these wrecks are,
Con dive at 700 feet. Dive I.
it's going to be quite difficult for me to find it. Again, if I had an American submarine or maybe
Con
a submarine,
sonar lost contact. Sierra 6. Last bearing 280. Contact faded.
or maybe a submarine with a better passive sonar suite, I could pick it out, but chances are I won't.
Make depth 650 feet. Make depth 400 feet. Dive I.
So I'm going to be alternating my depth and hopefully pick it up. I doubt it's above the layer, but I could be wrong. I'll give it a couple more seconds, and if I
Con
can't find
dive
it,
at 400 feet. Dive I.
I'll ping active.
Con, torpedo room, tube 3 ready.
The Whiskey is such an obsolete submarine, it's almost the equivalent of bringing a knife to a gunfight. I'm going to alternate my course as well. Let my passive, or my total rate.
Come right
there.
to 225. Helm I.
Rig ship for ultra quiet.
Okay, I'm going to do something a little bit more reckless. I'm going to try and ping active, just because I know for a fact that it's almost a no contest fight. So I'm going to turn this off. I'm going to hold Shift A,
Con sonar switching to active search.
and I'm going to pay attention to my map. The Whiskey could have run, so I might not even see it again.
Come left to 202. Helm I. Con helm. Steady course.
I'm time accelerating as well.
Make depth 300 feet. Dive I.
I'll spend a little time looking for it. If not, I'll go to my classic alpha technique.
Con dive at
Hunting things that are trying to run away
300
from me.
feet. Dive I.
I think I might do that now. So what I do
Con sonar switching to passive search.
is I go deep,
Make depth 900 feet. Dive I.
I'm going to put my ship to 20 knots for now to avoid cavitation.
Make Make turns for 20 knots. Maneuvering aye. Con maneuvering. Making turns for 20 knots.
The Alpha's acceleration is almost unparalleled. Very impressive. So we last saw the whiskey over here. We're gonna head that direction.
Come left to 173. Helm aye.
And once we reach a depth of around 800, 700, I'm gonna unleash the top speed of the Alpha. And
Con,
hopefully close the
helm,
distance of this
steady
whiskey that
course.
has decided to run with me.
Make turns for 4.
Con sonar, we are cavitating.
I'm not too concerned. This is cavitation right now, that's what you're saying. So that whiskey can definitely hear me. Doesn't matter. I'm coming for you.
Con sonar, no longer cavitating.
So now, I'm going to use this map.
Come right to 176. Helm aye.
Con, dive at 9.
Con maneuvering. Making turns for 6 knots.
And what I do with the Alpha is when I'm going extremely fast like this, I'll cover a whole bunch of ground at once. I'll slow down. I'll listen. And then if I can't find it immediately, I'll immediately pick up speed again. And I'll listen again. And I just alternate this. It helps you find stuff that's running away. I'm not always successful at this, but it does work more often than not. So this is where we last heard the whiskey. It was around here. I don't think it's around here, but I'm gonna take this opportunity to slow down anyways.
Rig ship for ultra quiet.
And as I still carry this speed, because it takes you time to slow down, I'm gonna go up to around 500, because that's usually a good
Make
universal.
depth 500 feet, dive aye.
I'm still carrying 38 knots, so by the time I reach that depth, I'll slow down. So now I'm at about 500. I'm going to start listening.
Rig ship for ultra quiet.
Am I
Come
doing
left
S-pattern?
to 120. Helm aye.
Let my
Con,
quarter ray come
dive
there.
at 500 feet, dive aye.
Con helm. Steady course.
Do another S.
Come right to 215. Helm aye.
And I might ping active as well.
Con helm. Steady course.
The problem is this whiskey could be anywhere. I'll go above the layer maybe. I doubt it's there, but whatever.
Make depth 100 feet, dive aye.
Not there.
Come left to 125. Helm aye.
Con, dive at 100 feet, dive aye.
Con helm. Steady course.
Make depth 500 feet, dive aye.
Come right to 147. Helm aye. Con helm. Steady course.
I'll give it a couple more shots and see if I can acquire this. Just give me 1 second.
Con,
I'll pause
dive
the video.
at 500 feet, dive aye.
Alright. I did a little bit more hunting, and I ended up finding the whiskey. I pinged active, and I was going 0 knots. I ended up finding it a little bit over here. She's not far from me.
Con sonar, switching to passive search.
So I'm going to switch to passive search before
Con
you acquire.
sonar, lost contact. Sierra, bore. Last bearing, 2, bore. Contact faded.
And I'm going to see if I can acquire it without it. It's not too far from me, and it was just turning in on me at 22,000 yards. That's kind of a bit of a shot. I don't know what speed it's at.
Make
So I'm
depth
gonna
650 feet, dive.
And I'm
Make
just gonna ping
turns
active.
for 5 knots. Maneuvering aye. Come left to 178. Helm aye. Con helm. Steady course. Con sonar regained contact on Sierra 4, bearing 224.
So I can see that the whiskey class is at 300 feet right now. I'm going to try and match the depth.
Make depth 300 feet. Dive by.
That's the problem with the Alpha. It's extremely depth, so you have to do a lot of risky moves to try and hear it. So I'm pinging it, and he's pinging me. He's going 12 knots, and he's slowing down, so which leads me to believe that he's going to try and listen for me. I need to ping active while I actually find a solution, because if I don't, I'll lose him again. So you can see it by the waterfall, it's very faint, but he is closing the distance on me. So he's almost going flat out towards me. Because if you look at the map screen, his top speed is 13 knots. He's doing 12. Sorry, I guarantee you that's not doing your ears any favors.
Con sonar, switching to passive search.
I think I'm at a position now where he won't disappear. So I'm going to let him ping active, and I'm going to use his pinging and utilize my passive and hopefully find him that way. So he's a little bit to the left of me. Where specifically, I can't see. He should be right around here. If I can't find him, it's not really a big a deal. That's fine. Okay, so what I'm going to do is I'm going to end this quickly. I'm going to take one of my tubes. I'm going to put it active because he is quiet. And I'm going to fire at him. Snapshot right here. He's probably going to hear this. No big deal.
Shoot 2-5. Aye, sir.
And I'm immediately going to go evasive.
Come right to
I'm probably gonna lose him.
268. Helm aye.
Yeah, we're far from each other. I'm gonna go towards him as well. It's probably not the smartest idea, but I have faith that he won't be able to kill me with his absolutely ancient technology.
Con sonar lost contact. Sierra 4, last bearing 227. Contact faded.
I'm gonna leave that about there. That feels about right to me. If it goes active early, no matter.
Con.
Come right to 266. Helm aye. Con sonar regained contact on. Con helm. Steady course.
I should be diving, but I really want to maintain my depth so that way I can get my proper solution on him to maintain my accuracy in terms of my activation. It's a little bit more dangerous if I was in a slower submarine. I recommend doing something a little bit more conservative, like going deeper. I'd probably go to almost maximum test depth right now if I was in an American submarine, maybe in an Akula class, something a little slower. But here, anything that gets fired at me, I can easily avoid. So this whiskey class is just a hole in the water. If you can see, there I am, right there. There's my torpedo. Another benefit to being shallow when you fire your torpedoes is when one locks onto you, the best step that you're going to want to take is to immediately go deep. If you're already deep, it kind of limits your choices. It's always easier to go down than to go up. If you're down, obviously the only solution is to go up, but if you're shallow, you're at a way higher advantage to dive than you are to surface. So I'm at 62% of a solution. I'm not that confident, so I might just go active right now by hitting the 4 key, and I'm active. So my torpedo is going to ping.
Con sonar, launch transient from
So
Sierra
you can see on the
4.
map where he
Con
fired.
sonar, launch
Fired
transient
two
from
tubes. That is
Sierra
where he
4.
actually is. You can't hear him, but you heard those sounds so clearly that it shows you exactly where he is. So he's firing two
Con
torpedoes
sonar,
at my direction.
Sierra 4 is cavitating.
So you can see that he's going full evasion. He's making a lot of noise, which means that his torpedoes, or sorry, his submarine rather, is as loud as it ever will be. And it just goes to show you how deaf this the Alpha class is. So I was unable to hear him until he went to full evasion.
Fire control, weapon acquired.
So now I can hear his submarine.
Con sonar, noisemaker bearing 226.
My submarine is now going around him. I'm going to steer it because I still have my wire. I'm going to steer it past that noisemaker in the water over here. Once it gets past it, I'm going to stop.
Con, fire control, weapon acquired.
Once I get past this noisemaker, I'm going to stop piloting the torpedo and allow the active sonar to take hold.
Con, fire control, weapon acquired.
Con sonar lost contact. Sierra 4, last bearing 227. Contact breaking up.
You can see that we got that whiskey class after all. Did a little bit of cat and mouse, had to do a whole lot of running to catch it, but I ended up finding it. And it just goes to show you that the Alpha class is deaf because he fired 2 torpedoes at me, and if it wasn't for me being able to see them in game, I never would have been able to hear them coming, other than the launch transient. So I'm going to avoid these torpedoes by just going maximum deep. So I'm going to go all the way down. I'm going to go down on the ballast, which is using the W and C keys. And I'm going to give myself 20 knots.
Make turns for
And I'm going to steer towards them.
20 knots. Maneuvering aye. Con, maneuvering. Making turns for 2.
Passing 400 feet. Passing 500 feet.
Make turns for 30 knots. Maneuvering aye.
Passing 700 feet.
So you can see by the S pattern here that they're searching passing.
Passing
which is actually-
800 feet.
Which is actually quite cheeky, because I can't hear them.
Passing 900 feet. Passing 1,000 feet.
Seafloor's at 1914.
Passing 1,100 feet. Passing 1,200 feet. Passing 1,300 feet. Passing 1,400 feet. Passing 1,500 feet.
Rig ship for ultra quiet.
Passing 1,600 feet. Passing 1,700 feet. Passing 1,800 feet.
So because it's passive, I want to be as quiet as possible because he's listening for me. It's not actively pinging. If I'm pinging, I can be as loud as I want. Whereas these are listening for me. So if I'm quiet, it'll pass right over top of me. And that seems to be the case. Excellent. Well, there you go. No torpedoes to touch me again. So, it's been a little bit of a long one. About 54 minutes, almost an hour. I appreciate you guys sticking with me, anybody who has watched it this long with me. I know a lot of the time that my tutorials can be a little bit lengthy. I'm looking at kind of expediting them and streamlining them, making them a little bit better. I really hope you guys enjoy this. If you guys have any input on a campaign you want me to run, a nationality, even a submarine, please let me know. If not, I'm going to continue. I might do an American campaign just to make it a little bit more familiar to the new players. Maybe do the Seawolf campaign at the South China Sea. That was actually the first campaign that I passed. I couldn't do the North America campaign, the 1984, just because of how difficult it was to work the Los Angeles class. I ended up passing the hardest campaign as my first newbie campaign. So if you guys are interested in following that along, please do. I said this once again, I'll say it again: like, comment, subscribe, share the video with anybody who's interested in these kind of things. Subscribing is free. It's priceless for me. So once again, thanks for tuning in. I appreciate your patronage. Take care. Have a good night.